So you get a massive influx of fans, even though you're expected to lose $50 million with the new fans coming in. So even at a loss, you look like it's possible that you might can turn the ship around and at least get off the investors, meaning that you can maybe, just maybe, make enough money to sustain yourself. And yet you think it's a good idea to attack the new girl in town and call all of her fans, her incoming fans, racist?
Doesn't negate the fact that we can't gloss over the reality of what we're exposed to every single day. That is what Janae has spoken about. That is what Carrington was alluding to. That is what a plethora of people within the WNBA and within the world is alluding to today. Yo, y'all, there's still a lot of work to be done because things haven't changed nearly as much as we would like to believe, period.
This right here was a bit from a little monologue that Stephen A. Smith did the other day that went viral. And of course, this was done on Friday. And it's taken me a while to kind of do this video because I'm a little bit behind on this. But after some careful consideration, the more and more and more I looked at the situation, I decided to attack this from an angle that is, I don't believe that Caitlin Clark will be able to save the WNBA, nor do I think that Angel Reese or any of the incoming talent or any of the talent that's joined this year is going to be able to save this particular league, because when you actually look into the article that was released about the $50 million shortfall and you look at exactly where their money is coming from and look at how they're acting, yeah, this league is doomed. Now, obviously, you guys are seeing some stuff here in the B-roll footage that definitely adds to the contentious nature of this topic, given the fact that the girl got ran over by Trinity Carter, also got mocked in one game. And I've heard some people talk about how it was that Caitlin Clark also has thrown some shots in herself, or this recent one with Angel Reese. And of course, she got called. She was a flagrant that was called on that play. I've heard a lot of this. I've heard a lot of people use the whole, well, they're being racist angle, all that type of stuff there. And I think that every single thing that people are saying at this moment in time is in fact valid, because let's just go ahead and be honest. When you're watching sports, when you're new to a sport, or you're coming in and you're actually putting your money into a sport to see something, then obviously you don't want to feel like you're getting gypped, or you don't want to feel like you're being screwed over. However, the point of this entire video is to explain how it is that the WNBA will find a way to screw this opportunity up, and in a lot of ways they already have. Like I said, I'm a little bit late to the party, but I wanted to kind of give it a little bit more time to see exactly what was going to happen. And obviously you guys are seeing it now. Now, I want to go ahead and say this because I want to use this as a bit of a parallel to everything else that's going on, especially in the world of sports. Do you guys remember back in 2016 when Colin Kaepernick decided he wanted to start kneeling before NFL football games? Do you guys remember back in 2014, the whole hands up, don't shoot thing? Do you guys remember that? The minute sports becomes political, or people start injecting politics into sports, or begin to start injecting racial politics into sports, next thing you know, the product has been completely killed, or at least it has been killed for that year. The WNBA, and you guys will see in this article, which took me about 4 minutes to go through, and I'll be playing that segment for you guys here in a second. The WNBA was already on the bottom, and they didn't exactly look like they were going to be able to make it back up. Well, in comes Caitlin Clark, and now you've got the opportunity to remarket yourself and possibly get some more revenue. I mean, money's not the most important thing in the world, but it does make the world go round and round, and you do obviously need it. So what happens? Okay, well, eventually the whole notion of the national team, Team USA, pops up, and the WNBA thinks it's a good idea to leave this girl off the roster. Now, I understand where the girls are coming from when they say she's not earned it, or maybe she could be a distraction, all that type of stuff there. But the point is this here. When you have someone like Caitlin Clark, it would be a good idea to put her out there so that way you can get exposure, because if they're coming to see her, they're also coming to see you too. That right there being the players. One of the things that the people in the WNBA, one of the things that the players complain about, one of the things that the commissioner complains about is the fact that they don't get enough exposure. Now, if I didn't already say this, the WNBA is kind of buoyed up by several different things. Investors, it's buoyed up by the NBA itself, and also something else too. The recent ratings report on the NBA Finals and what's expected after Game 5 is not exactly looking too good. It's possible that the NBA itself could be at a bit of a loss, and of course, to go on top of this, there's a lot of rumors out there that are circulating saying that the NBA is probably going to enter into a new contract with NBC, which I think would be great for the NBA to do so. But still, at the same time, you're looking at losing money on both ends of the aisle. And of course, at some point in time, you got to think one of the two is going to give, especially given the fact that the NBA does buoy the WNBA. So what does the WNBA do when they get a hold of this new piece of property? Well, they leave her on the bench and say, you can't be on the USA national team. Now, I understand that this story is old. I get that. I understand that 100%. But one of the people that you saw at the very beginning, Stephen A. Smith, right before he decided to go out of his way to, and of course, we'll get to that segment here soon, to basically do a complete total 180 on everything he's been saying. Let's look at what he was saying 2 weeks ago about this very issue.
Andrea, I strongly suggest you rethink such positions, especially when it comes to you, because marketing matters. It's how you get paid. If you don't know that, you better hear me and hear me good. I am telling you right now, you are going to be underpaid for the rest of what I believe will be an illustrious career, unless you get your mind right about that marketing. It matters. It matters. Janae, you know I'm right.
I hear you.
You know I'm right.
I hear you, Stephen A., but I will not sacrifice my basketball knowledge and my integrity in terms of the game for marketing. My marketing is doing just fine. And if it has to
Team
grow
USA
a little bit
has.
slower to hold on.
Team USA has. We've had ample
the
evidence where
basketball
they've done it in the past.
Yes.
Excuse me. I just finished
And
saying
maybe
they've
they're
all
not
done
trying
it.
to do it this year.
Stephen A., can I say this,
understand that.
Andrea?
I understand that.
Andrea.
He's not lying. He's basically telling this girl that you need to get this girl out there. You need to get the exposure. You see, if she's out there, if people are watching, next thing you know, people are also watching you. Most of these people don't know who these WNBA players are, and you can obviously tell that maybe they don't deserve it based upon their actions. I mean, there's just one little segment that I came across that I figured I would throw in this video just to kind of remind people who the hell the WNBA players are, the smug attitude, which I'll go ahead and play for you guys now.
This looks like the bench production. You didn't get a lot of it in this game here. Talk about what they need to do going forward.
You said what?
The bench. Not score a lot in this game here, give you a lot of production. What do you have to do next in the next few games to help you guys most likely get to the next level?
What does the bench have to do?
Yes.
What did you?
I was saying that the bench didn't give a lot of production today in this game here. What do they got to do to help you all out as what they did in the previous game?
What they got to do? What they do last game? That's a real question? You for real?
No, what I'm asking is just really trying to get an idea of what they need to do.
So what the bench do the last game?
They actually played well. They played well.
So what they do this game?
Today they didn't do well this game.
Okay, so what they got to do? Score, right?
Yep.
All right, bet. That's it, right? Yep.
Not exactly a ringing endorsement of the product. Now, before we look at some of the stuff that I've got here, especially some of the things that have been said, I want to go ahead and put this out here. I was going to read the article to you guys, but then I realized the reading itself was a little bit too long. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of paraphrase the article. And of course, I'll leave the article link in the description box. Basically, about 60% of the WNBA is being buoyed at this moment in time by the NBA itself. The men are actually carrying the women. These, by the way, are the same women who complained about pay. They're only getting about 10% of the overall revenue. The other 40% is being buoyed up by investors. And stuff like, say, flights, being able to fly first class, hotels, stuff like that, that is basically coming out of the NBA's budget. The thing that the WNBA does not seem to understand is that for the first time since probably the early 2000s, their players are actually able to enjoy a life on the road. They're actually able to fly first class. They're actually getting some form of notoriety. Hence, one of the reasons why it is that Stephen A. Smith was in a bit of a, it was one of the few times where he was actually had some level of common sense, at least in his takes, as far as I'm concerned. I didn't do this video to insult Stephen A. Smith, but the thing is this right here. What he was trying to explain to her was that you need her out there so that way you can get the exposure and notoriety. I think I went over this earlier. I don't want to repeat myself, but the point is this here. Because the WNBA is so smug and because the players themselves feel like, you know what, we were doing great before she got here, which is obviously a cope because in reality they were not doing good. They are now sabotaging the one person that might can pull them out of the situation that they are in. Now, here's the thing I want to say before we get to this stuff. At some point in time, one company, and I may have already said this, but at some point in time, one entity is going to want to cut bait with the other. Well, obviously, the WNBA is not the dominant entity here. You've got the NBA, and then you've got the investors right below it. Well, if the investors don't want to invest in the WNBA, maybe they may invest more money into the NBA, but of course, to go on top of that, that's less money obviously going to the WNBA, meaning that there's less opportunity for it to grow and save itself. And then to go on top of that there, what if the NBA says we're getting sick and tired of buoying you up? What if they decide to cut bait? Now, it's unlikely that they will do so, but still, though, we are living in unprecedented times, so you never know. And seeing how it is that the NBA is looking how it is that Caitlin Clark, of course, could be possibly being mismanaged, which obviously she is being mismanaged, and the WNBA is mismanaging the opportunity. They're blowing the opportunity. It's very possible that the NBA itself just may say, screw this. These girls are too insufferable, and quite frankly, we cannot save this league, so screw it, we are done. Which brings me back to politics. Now, guys, I'm playing something for you guys here in the B-roll footage. This right here was a slight interview that she did, or a side interview that she did with Jim Trotter. And Jim Trotter basically, for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, basically asked her the exact same question over and over again. Are you going to denounce racism? Are you going to call out fans for their misogyny? That type of stuff there. And of course, there's also a good 50-second clip that I'm about to play for you guys too that basically happened, I think, the very next day when another reporter decided to ask her pretty much the same exact questions that Jim Trotter asked her. And let's look at how she responded.
Caitlin, I know you mentioned that, you want to focus straight on basketball. Definitely respect that. But when, just asking you directly, when people use your name for racism, misogyny, whatever, what is your response to that specifically?
Yeah, I think it's disappointing. I think, everybody in our world, deserves the same amount of respect. The women on our league deserve the same amount of respect. So people should not be using my name to push those agendas. It's disappointing. It's not acceptable. But yeah, I mean, this league is a league I grew up admiring and wanting to be a part of. Like, some of the women in this league were my biggest idols and role models growing up and helped me want to achieve this moment right here that I get to play in every single night. So just treating every single woman in this league with the same amount of respect, I think is just a basic human thing that everybody should do. Like, just be a kind person and treat them, how you would want to be treated. And I think it's, very simple.
Let's just go ahead and tell all the new fans that they're racist. Let's just go ahead and tell them that they're not welcome. Not a good idea. I got to tell the story every time I see something like this about Michael Jordan and when he said Republicans wear sneakers too. What happened was that it was a Senate race here in my home state of North Carolina between Republican Senator Jesse Helms and Democrat nominee Harvey Gantt. They wanted Mike, who, by the way, is a fellow North Carolina. He wasn't born. He was actually born in Brooklyn, New York, but he was raised near Wilmington. They wanted Mike to weigh in on the race. They basically thought he was a shoo-in because he was black, that he was going to be a Democrat. And maybe Michael Jordan is a Democrat. I've never really asked him his politics. I don't know the guy personally. I think he is. But still, at the same time, though, they wanted Mike to get involved. They wanted him to say something. And Mike simply responded with, hey, look, Republicans buy sneakers too. Mike didn't want to alienate his audience. I think that the WNBA could learn from this, but then again, if you guys haven't already picked up on it, the WNBA, quite frankly, is insufferable and not capable of saving itself. So you're probably already thinking to yourself, if it's not capable of saving itself, while at the same time not wanting to save itself, then what the hell might make you think that Caitlin Clark can save it? Well, as you guys can obviously see, the reporters obviously don't want this to happen, because if they did in fact want this to happen, they would not try to play the race card or try to goad her in this type of stuff that they just tried to goad her into just now from what you guys just saw. They wouldn't try to do that, but obviously she passed with flying colors, so there is that. Whoever is in charge of Caitlin Clark's press team, or whoever the hell her publicist is, whoever the hell is that's actually telling her what to say, obviously knows what they are doing. Clark does not seem to me like she's haughty. She seems like she's actually quite humble, even though she knows she's good in the league she's in. But obviously she didn't take the bait. And the bait, of course, is to call all the new fans that came into the league racist, which, of course, is exactly what Stephen A. Smith chose to do the other day on First Take, which I'll go ahead and play the first segment for you now.
A broader issue here that can't be escaped, and that is this. She is a white young lady, and she's been a magnet in a way that has benefited the league in ways that others have not, even though their efforts have been worthy and deserving of being as celebrated, if not even more celebrated. And it's a reminder that no matter how far we believe that we have advanced as a society, there's still such a long way to go, because in the end, if you're white, you're bright, you're right, and as a result, the shine comes your way in the eyes of a lot of people in America. Let's transition. Very uncomfortable to touch on, but just factually correct. You have somebody that's a presidential candidate. What is his claim to fame? Make America great again. What have people interpreted that to mean? Make America white again.
Can you please explain to me how it is that Donald Trump has got something to do with this? I understand that Donald Trump is running for president. I understand that there are people who watch my channel who voted for Donald Trump. I understand that I'm a Trump voter. I understand that there are people who watch my content that don't vote for Donald Trump. Obviously, this is a much more conservative-leaning channel. But still, the point is this right here. It's not a good idea to tell all the new fans that are coming to your league, a league that, quite frankly, is dying, that they're racist. Which, of course, is exactly the direction that he would go, as you guys will see here.
He has his supporters spanning the tens of millions. There are others on the other side having tens of millions of the supporters on their side. What has that led to? A divide. It is not a divide that is created. It is a divide that's illuminated because it's highlighting and showing that it's been in existence all along. It hasn't gone anywhere. As we travel for the NBA Finals, and Shanae is here with yours truly, and Kendrick Perkins and Brian Windows and stuff like that. Yeah, in the city of Dallas, we're chilling, this metropolis, and, we're having a good time. Go to some of the outskirts of Texas. Go to some of the outskirts of Florida. Go to some of the outskirts of various places throughout this country, and you see places that ain't trying to hear all of that. It was the way that it was, and we ain't trying to change it for anybody. We holding on to this, whatever that it may be. And as a result of that, we find ourselves on too many occasions witnessing the conflict that we thought had subsided.
This is very revealing, almost a watershed moment. I mean, Stephen A. Smith is basically telling you that he doesn't care about the rest of the country. Now, obviously, I've made content talking about the situation in New York and the situation in Chicago, but I go out of my way not to insult the people that live there. Stephen A. Smith obviously chose to do this by talking about people, how they feel in the state of Texas, whatever. I don't think that that's what's going on here, seeing how it is that nobody is watching the WNBA, and you will see that in the article, that even though they have some newfound viewership, it's really because of Caitlin Clark, and it's operating at a $50 million shortfall. When people see Caitlin Clark getting ran over by Shitty Carter, when they see the mocking, when they see all the stuff that you guys saw earlier, people are obviously going to think to themselves, my God, they're out to get this girl. They may support her just a little bit more because you're going out of your way to martyr her. Now, does that mean that that formula will work long-term? Probably not. I don't think that the girls themselves have been told to run her over every chance you get. I mean, the truth be told is the team that Caitlin Clark plays for is not exactly in contention and doesn't look like a team that will be a playoff team. If anything, if you want to point the finger at anybody, you might want to point the finger at Caitlin Clark's teammates, because they obviously have not gotten her back. But still, though, given what we know now, statistically, she's actually performed pretty well given the circumstances that she's been under, just saying. And that, to me, would tell me that they would be able to save the league. However, the problem is this right here. Given the attitude, and I mean given the attitude of the current players in the WNBA, the constant victim playing, given the fact that the league has already made a lot of very bad decisions as far as revenue is concerned, I don't think that that is going to happen. And then when you turn right back around after that, and your lead analyst, which, by the way, Stephen A. Smith is not their lead analyst, but he's the lead analyst at ESPN, the lead personality, the face of ESPN, and you choose to call the new fans racist, it's pretty obvious that you don't want this league to succeed, which is kind of sad given the conversation that he had the other day with Martha McNutt, or Monica McNutt, whatever her name is, former NBA player. Of course, I'm playing some of this stuff for you guys here in the B-roll footage. You can see exactly how smug she is. Stephen A. had to remind her that he has been talking about the WNBA at least once a week on First Take, which he actually does. Back when I used to watch it, hell, I watched it when it was cold pizza. Stephen A. Smith would talk about the WNBA and, of course, the direction it was going and how it was that he would lament over the fact that it's obviously a dead league. And the league, of course, is given a golden opportunity, but because the girls there have a certain ideology that they go by, a certain preference that they go by, and, of course, the fact that the WNBA prefers their women to be not white, not straight, not Christian, obviously is something that, quite frankly, someone like Caitlin Clark is not going to be able to save them. Now, you guys obviously saw how it is that they're trying to get her to denounce certain fans, of course, go full-blown political, how it is that they don't want to get her out there so that way she can get other players more exposure. It seems to me that the WNBA, unless they get brand new leadership and maybe they get new talent, and of course, if ESPN would stop playing the race card, it seems to me like the WNBA would be able to at least salvage something and save itself, but as you guys can obviously see, that does not look like that's going to be the case. So, no, I do not think that Caitlin Clark is going to be able to save the WNBA. But you guys tell me what you think in the comment section. I would love to hear what you guys have got to say. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Oh, I forgot. There's just a couple of quick updates. I apologize. I just want to go ahead and just get this out of the way. I told you I'd be very, very concise with it. I have got a lot more doctor's appointments coming up this summer. So the schedule for videos, I'm going to just try to tweak them up just a little bit later in the day. And of course, I'm going to go back to covering more pop culture content while we are over the course of the summer. For example, sports, for example, I kind of include that in my pop culture content. So I'm just giving you guys a bit of a heads up of what to kind of expect here on the channel, at least over the course of the summer. The video essays are coming too. I'm going to try to work those in. But when you've got an aneurysm in your right leg and now your arteries are narrowing, you're going to be spending more time at the doctor's office. I'll be fine, but I'm just kind of giving you guys a bit of a heads up. Please tell me what you think about the video. Tell me what you think about this Caitlin Clark situation. Please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comment section. I'll see you guys later.